Chapter 1. Send me to the past. Spirit Master Xiaogong silently stared at the midnight visitor. As the master of the Gui Gate, having navigated through the Sword Mountain and Blade Forest, he had encountered many intruders. They came in various types. Some were confident, some were meticulous, some were good fighters, some were cunning, and occasionally there were those who were confident, meticulous, good fighters, and cunning. Of course, even those never left his manor alive. But the man standing before him was different from all the previous intruders. Seeing those weary eyes that had tasted all the bitter flavors of life, only one thought crossed his mind. Damn, is today the day of my death anniversary? Xiaogong suppressed his anxiety and asked calmly, "Have we met before?" "No." The man's voice was low, yet pleasant to hear. "Then what brings you here at this hour?" "Please let him not say with that good voice, 'It's a good day to die, you ghostly bastard.' I have a request." The spirit master, who had felt the gates of hell open behind him, felt a sense of relief as he asked, "Speak." Then, the most astonishing request he had ever heard in his life flowed from the man's mouth. "Send me to the past." Silence fell for a moment. Xiaogong, who was gazing at the man with a subtle look, asked quietly, "How can a human turn back time?" "I wouldn't know. You, who can wield the great regression technique, should tell me." The spirit master did not deny this. "How did you know I could perform it?" The great regression technique was a secret art passed down only within his family. Xiao Jin. The name he longed for overwhelmed Xiaogong with emotion. "How do you know my sister?" "She was a companion during my wandering days." Where is she now?" "She's dead." "Ah." Xiaogong let out a deep sigh. The great regression technique had been researched in his family for centuries. Even in his father's time, it was incomplete, so he and his sister had worked from a young age to help their father complete it. And 10 years ago, his sister couldn't bear it anymore and left the family in what was almost a nighttime escape. The spirit master understood her. Under the pretext of a family's great cause, she had dedicated all of her blossoming 20s to the research. "How did Jin die?" "Don't worry about revenge. I've taken care of it. Before she died, she asked me to tell you this. She lived a life without regrets. She hoped you would too. Don't live a life only studying the great regression technique. Live your own life." The spirit master fell into deep regret. The man waited for him to compose himself before asking the most important question of the day. "Did you complete the technique?" Xiaogong slowly nodded. "Yes, in my generation, I finally completed it." A flash of joy crossed the man's face. When he smiled brightly, it was clear he was quite a handsome man. "At what point can I return?" "That cannot be determined. You could go back 10 years, 30 years, or even to your infancy. If you are unlucky, you might go back to yesterday." "I am fortunate, so don't worry." You think you can return immediately? A hint of bitterness crossed the spirit master's face. The technique is impossible. If it were possible, I would have already returned. Didn't you say you completed that technique? I haven't gathered all the necessary materials. I will gather the materials. It's impossible. Tell me. Among the 99 materials needed for the technique, there are 5 that I couldn't obtain. The first of them is something you can never find. Have you heard of the thunderbell? The sacred object of the heavenly wind cult? That's right, exactly. The heavenly wind cult was the successor of the blood sect and held the greatest power in the wilderness. To perform the great regression technique, you need the sound waves produced when the thunderbell rings. However, the bell is the treasure of the heavenly wind cult and is placed behind the leader's throne. Can you still say you'll retrieve it? Xiaogong couldn't even ask to borrow the thunderbell. If he did, his family would be annihilated by the temperamental leader of the heavenly wind cult. I will get it. With a determined response, the man left without giving Xiaogong a chance to stop him. Is he insane? The spirit master thought so at the time, regretting that he hadn't asked more about his sister. The man returned several years later. One sleepless night, tormented by insomnia, Xiaogong saw him again, as if in a midsummer's night's dream. He was carrying the large thunderbell on his back. The evil spirits carved into the bell looked even more grotesque, as if angry about a long journey from Sivu to here. Would you like to give it a ring? Xiaogong inspected and re-inspected the thunderbell with wide-open eyes. This can be. Oh, this can be. It was hard to believe. But this was a genuine thunderbell with a subtle flow of the blood sex energy. This is insane. How on earth did you get this? I am a man of my word. What's the next material? The man's calm yet confident gaze showed that his recent boast was not mere bravado. He is no ordinary person. But soon the spirit master sighed. Even though you were lucky enough to bring the sacred relic of the heavenly wind cult, you won't be able to get the next material. What is it? It's the divine incense brazier of the divine dragon family. The great regression technique requires fresh incense from the divine incense brazier. The divine dragon family, a symbol of a newly emerging righteous faction after the Martial Alliance's closure, and the family who had greatest power, a force known to be stronger than the heavenly wind cult. Got it. I'll hear about the third material after I bring the incense burner. Are you leaving the thunderbell with me? What if I take it and run away? Then I'll inform the heavenly wind cult that you ran off with their bell. After leaving the words that challenged Xiaogong to try, the man hurriedly left, and time passed again. Will he manage to get it this year? Every year brought doubts. That doubt repeated for 5 or 6 years until one autumn the man returned with the divine incense brazier. You really brought it? The spirit master could not believe it even as he looked directly at the divine incense brazier. How on earth did you manage to bring this? If I wrote it all down, it would take 5 or 6 books. Tell me. I'd read even 10 books. I am curious. No time for that. What made this man turn the impossible into possible? With this ability, he could live well even in this life. Yet he was so determined to return. Is revenge the reason you want to go back? Yes. With your skills, you could achieve revenge in this life too, no? Impossible. Who is your enemy that makes it impossible? A name flowed from the man's mouth. Huamugi. Ooh, the spirit master let out a gasp at the name. Huamugi. He had two nicknames. The first was Sambong. It was a nickname that would suit an elderly scholar renowned for his knowledge or skill. However, his Sambong did not mean peak or to serve. In Huamugi's case, Bong meant to seal. Just as martial alliance, sealed. Unorthodox alliance, sealed. Heavenly demon cult, sealed. The leaders of the three most powerful forces that sustained the martial world all died by his hand. The leader of the martial alliance was dead. The leader of the unorthodox alliance was dead. And the heavenly demon was dead. Their families and masters who did not surrender were all killed as well. Thus, his second nickname was the greatest of all time. Huamugi, the greatest of all time. The absolute being of this era. After sealing the three places, Huamugi declared his home as the supreme alliance of the world, and thousands of masters who revered him gathered around him. Those who witnessed his unification of the martial world called him the immortal martial god. Oh my god, even if you regress, you can't beat him. I will kill him, no matter what. How on earth? He's the greatest martial arts genius since the creation of the martial world. I grew up hearing that I was a genius too. He has a heavenly martial body bestowed by the heavens. I have a heavenly martial body too. What? Who exactly are you? The heavenly demon who was killed by him was my father. Xiaogong was greatly shocked by the man's words. He never dreamed that this man was the son of a deceased heavenly demon. Only now did he understand the things the man had accomplished earlier. He knew the man wasn't ordinary, but he certainly didn't expect this level of identity. How did you survive? The man then loosened his clothes. The scar on his chest was so severe that Xiaogong almost exclaimed, "Good heavens, are you a ghost?" When I opened my eyes, I was amidst a pile of corpses. I crawled out just before being buried alive. I see. The reason I cannot forgive Huamugi is not because he tried to kill me, nor because he killed my father, nor because he killed my treacherous brother. What's the big deal about being killed by someone when living the life tainted by demonic influence? Then, that day, Huamugi killed not only the servants and skilled workers who didn't know martial arts, but also the children. He even killed the dogs and cats he raised. He annihilated his own life in sight. Lies, I cannot believe that. Whether you believe it or not is none of my concern. The spirit master could sense that the man's words were true. The man he had known so far would not lie about such matters. Who he is doesn't matter anymore. In reality, he might be a great hero with grand intentions. Some might even applaud him for eradicating the demonic cult. But to me, Huamugi is nothing but a heartless enemy who killed my family without a shred of mercy. No matter how much I calculate and ponder, I cannot kill him in this era. So I must go back and kill him. Before I do, I need to ask him, why, as strong as you are, did you have to kill even the children?" The spirit master stared at the man, stunned. He had never imagined the man had such a story. The man placed his hand on his chest. "That day, my guard died trying to protect me, leaving a hole here. A friend who never even had the chance to get married or make a proper friend because she was too busy protecting me and day and night. So please, don't waste more of my time and tell me, what is the third ingredient?" "You really are a busy man. So, the next ingredient." Xiaogong let out the deepest sigh since he had met the man. "No matter who you are, this time you won't be able to get it." "What is it?" "It's the core essence of a 10,000-year carp. The last recorded sighting of it was 300 years ago. It might not even exist in this world anymore. Truly a damn technique. Should I just cut you down right here?" "Please hold back." "I must. After coming this far, how could I not?" "Wait here. This might take quite some time." "Do you think the 10,000-year carp will just come up if you cast your fishing line?" "A 10,000-year carp is still just a carp, right? It must be somewhere in the water in this world. Wait here. I will get it." Watching his figure walking towards the impossible, the spirit master thought that stories about the man's brother or even his unknown name were not so important after all. Chapter 2. Did you push me away? The merciless flow of time passed relentlessly. The world was still Huamugi's. According to rumors, Huamugi had become even stronger. He was continuously striving towards the ultimate truth of martial arts through endless training. The world was governed by 12 of his most devoted followers, who were called the 12 Zodiac Kings. Although the Absolute Master unified the martial world, life did not improve. In fact, it grew worse. Injustice ran rampant in association with the 12 Zodiac Kings. Those who pleased them gained fame, while those who defied them lost their lives. Life had become even harsher than when the factions were divided. Meanwhile, the Martial Alliance, the Unorthodox Alliance, and the Demon Cult still couldn't lift their seclusion. Everyone said that as long as Huamugi remained alive, their gates would never open. Just when the thought that he had died in some unknown valley became overwhelming, the nameless man returned. When they first met, he was in his prime, but now he had become a middle-aged man with graying hair. He exuded a more mature aura than ever before. He had changed. His face and body were tanned as if he had traveled the world, and he had new scars that were not there before. Despite his fearsome appearance, his eyes remained the same, cold yet clear, calm yet deep, just as they were then when he first came to him. Here, this is the core essence of the 10,000-year carp. Inside the box he handed over was indeed the core essence of a 10,000-year carp. It really exists. The spirit master's voice trembled. How on earth did you get it? I searched every possible place. I can proudly say that climbing mountains, swimming, diving, and camping, I am a master at all. I could draw a map of the Central Plains with my eyes closed. That's truly remarkable. The most remarkable is not that I got it, but that I didn't go mad in the process. Xiaogong suddenly had a thought. Perhaps this wasn't the core essence of a 10,000-year carp, but the man's will itself. As he imagined the sky blue will emanating from the man and forming the core essence, the man urged him again. So, what's the next ingredient? Don't you want to boast? What extraordinary adventures must he have had to gather all the ingredients he had so far? If it were him, he wouldn't be able to resist boasting about his success to anyone. I'll boast later, after I kill that bastard and drape his corpse. I'll see it over and over, make him into a mummy, and boast about it for the rest of my life, just to let everyone know that I killed him. It's strange to hear such jokes from you. The spirit master wanted to laugh and chat with this man discussing martial arts and life, but the man was always busy, as usual. So, what's the fourth ingredient? Money. At the unexpected answer, the man asked, "How much do you need?" 5 million yang. It was an unimaginably large sum of money, but the man had a consistent reaction. "I'll get it." Xiaogong knew that even if it were 10 billion yang or 100 billion yang, this man would jump up and say he would go get it. He might add a comment, jokingly looking at the spirit master. Should I just kill him and quit everything? But he was the kind of person who silently advanced towards his goal. Xiaogong was witnessing an extreme example of how terrifyingly strong one's will could be when truly enraged. Wait a moment. What? I'll cover the money. Our family has been saving money over generations for this technique. I'll use that money. Why? Because succeeding in this technique is also the long-cherished wish of me and my family. All right. Thank you. Truly thank you. This will save a lot of time. The man was genuinely happy. So, will you have a drink with me today? I'll have one drink and then leave. You heartless friend. They brought the alcohol and sat side by side on a rock in the yard, pouring and drinking from large cups. The two savored their drinks slowly. When we first met, both you and I were full of energy. My body may be aging, but my heart remains the same. I am desperately trying to live youthfully. Why make such an effort? Because I will return to my younger self. Whether I go back at 50, 60, or 100, I am the person who came to you that day. My time stopped at that exact moment. If he had heard these words when they first met, he would have thought, the effort is admirable, but is it even possible? But now he knew better than anyone how remarkable the man's willpower was. If this technique succeeds, and you can indeed return to the past, may I make one request? Go ahead. If you return to the past, please come and find me. And then the spirit master let out a long sigh and said, Stop my marriage. At the unexpected request, the man burst into laughter. For the first time since they met, the man laughed. I am not joking, please, stop it. Is that more important than 5 million yang? It's more important to me. I can live alone forever. Please do that for me. All right. Xiaogong, after telling him which year he was to marry, reiterated his plea. Promise me. Promise me you'll stop it. I promise. The two finished the remaining liquor. What is the last ingredient? It's something you know. What is it? Heavenly demon spirit. Knowing what it was, the man's eyes darkened. It's your late father's keepsake. I know. My father never let go of it, even for a moment. Do you have it? The man shook his head. Do you know where it is? I don't. What if Huamugi has it by any chance? Then all the effort over the years could be in vain. Even if it fortunately remains with our cult, it won't be easy to obtain. Currently, the demonic cult was sealed, led by a new leader. Although they couldn't unseal it due to Huamugi's influence, the demonic cult had been strengthening itself over the years. As the son of the former leader, he knew he wouldn't be welcomed back. Rather, the new leader, who believed him dead, would try to kill him upon his reappearance. Let's hope it's still with the cult. Don't take too long. I'm getting old, too. Don't die before I return. Thank you for the drink. After downing his last cup, the man left. Xiaogong stood there for a long time, watching the man disappear into the distance. The man who left like that did not return. There were no news of any disturbances in the demon cult either. Still, the spirit master always listened intently. As the years went by, Xiaogong aged, and the flower of death bloomed on his face. Even today, he sat absent-mindedly on the porch, looking at the spot where the man used to stand. Then, the spirit master rubbed his eyes as if seeing an illusion. Someone was painfully staggering towards him. It was the very man who had left to fetch the last ingredient. He had changed so much. His face was so badly damaged that he looked like a different person, and he had lost his right eye and left arm. His body, likely covered in scars, was drenched in still dripping blood. Xiaogong was speechless at the sight. After handing over the heavenly demon spirit, the man collapsed on the spot. How did you manage to get the heavenly demon spirit? Let's go to the place where we can perform the technique. He didn't even have the strength to respond. Xiaogong supported him and led him to a space where the great regression technique would be performed. Everything was prepared there. The final ingredient they had waited for so long. The spirit master took the heavenly demon spirit and placed it in the center. As soon as the finishing touch reached its designated spot, the formation began to shine brightly, strange images and characters appearing around it. Xiaogong stood in front of it and began to chant. Blue and red lights started to envelop the area. The thunder bell tolled, and incense rose from the divine incense burner. As the spirit master's chant reached its climax, the main ingredients combined and became one, creating a shimmering light cluster. It resembled an entrance leading somewhere. We did it! Xiaogong's face overflowed with emotion. Thus, the moment the family's centuries-old wish was fulfilled. Xiaogong approached the man leaning against the pillar. Perhaps due to the excessive blood loss, he was unconscious. Instead of waking him up, the master spirit instead of instead of waking him up, the spirit master spoke softly. I am sorry. He had resolved to return to the past. I am truly sorry. He felt even sorrier, knowing how hard this man had worked to gather the ingredients. But these materials were impossible to obtain again. I promise I will find you and warn you of the impending calamity. Xiaogong stood up and turned towards the shimmering light. Returning to the past has been our family's lifelong wish. It was my wish too. Just as he was about to walk towards the light, ooh, the spirit master flinched and stopped in his tracks. His devil's hole pressure point had already been suppressed. He couldn't even tell when it had happened. A languid voice came from behind. How could you do this? The man, whom Xiaogong thought was unconscious, had risen. Hey, Xiaogong's voice trembled. The man staggered forward and stopped in front of the spirit master. Of all people, you! How could you do this? The man grabbed Xiaogong by the neck, his eyes full of bitter hatred and profound sorrow. The old and frail spirit master's neck seemed like it would break at any moment. I must have lost my mind. I'm sorry, truly, I'm sorry. Xiaogong thought the man would kill him. Yes, if it were anyone else, it wouldn't have mattered, but it shouldn't have been him. Only the spirit master knew how hard this man had worked to prepare the ingredients for this technique, how much he had suffered. At that moment, the man softly released his grip on Xiaogong's neck. I am a selfish person too. Because I only think of myself, I was able to gather all those ingredients. So, it's okay. If it were someone else, I would have killed them on the spot. But I understand you. The man did not blame the spirit master. Instead, he spoke warmly with soft eyes. Thank you for waiting for me all your life. Xiaogong teared up at the man's heartfelt words. It was a mix of guilt and regret. They could have had a more splendid farewell. Truly, they could have. They should have. At the exact moment Xiaogong's tears fell, the world stopped as if it were a lie. What? The man looked around in surprise. Everything had come to a standstill. A butterfly in flight was frozen in mid-air like a picture, and blades of grass swaying in the wind were bent but did not rise again. Xiaogong, who had been standing in front, was the same. Even the sincere tears he shed were suspended in the air, never to touch the ground. The man wondered if he was hallucinating due to blood loss. Just then, an old man appeared in the place where time had stopped, except the man himself. You have passed all the tests. The man asked in astonishment at the old man's words. Who are you? I'm someone who can send you to the past. How could a human defy the laws of heaven with mere mystical objects and treasures? Did you think such things could make it possible? When the old man raised his hand, the 5 items the man had collected throughout his life reappeared and floated around him. These were the materials that had vanished along with the Great Regression technique. At that moment, the man realized the old man was a being far beyond human. The true ingredients of this technique are not these artifacts, but the effort you put into gathering them. When the old man waved his hand, the items vanished like smoke. You have passed the test. You lived your life sacrificing yourself for a single purpose. And forgiving the spirit master Xiaogong was the final test. In truth, it was the hardest test, yet you passed it the easiest. The man's entire body trembled. He had always thought the heavens were indifferent, that there was no such thing as a transcendent will. But now, a being he considered as an incarnation of those same heavens was standing before him. The surprise quickly turned into anger. Are you a being that only responds after such extreme efforts? Are you that superior? Do not be too angry. People can see me more easily than you think. There are even those who meet me every day. But your wish was not something I could easily grant, was it? The man agreed with that. It wasn't about becoming rich or marrying a beautiful woman. His sole wish was to return to the past. Send me back. To do what? I will kill the one who must be killed, and save those who shouldn't die. Killing Huamugi and saving everyone was the first priority. And there was something equally important. And I want to live my life properly. Perhaps the reason I desperately want to go back is not just my anger towards Huamugi, but also because I deeply regret my life. What is so regretful? Everything. My life, from birth until now, wasn't led by me but pushed by something. I was pushed here and there, and it ended like that. Was it you, the one who pushed me? The old man asked with an awkward smile. After your revenge, what kind of life do you want to live? I don't know. Whether I become the heavenly demon following in my father's footsteps, live quietly in seclusion, become a womanizer who conquers all the beauties of the world, lead the cult and beat up scoundrels, or become a scoundrel myself. I haven't decided anything. I am curious about what kind of life you live. I look forward to that new life. Thank you. Let's have a drink together the next time we meet. With those words, the old man disappeared. Next time? He had a feeling that the old man might appear before him once again someday. Simultaneously, the time that had stopped began to flow again. The butterfly that had stopped flapped its wings and flew into the sky. The grass swayed in the wind, and the tears of Xiaogong, which had been suspended in midair, fell to the ground. I'm sorry, truly. The man silently watched Xiaogong, who was shedding tears of apology. He would never know that his great regression technique was a great technique that touched the will of heaven. The final decision would be made by heaven, but it was certain that Xiaogong's technique was the medium that connected him to that heaven. The spirit master pleaded with a desperate face. I know it's totally shameless to ask, but please, don't forget our promise. You must really stop my marriage. The man chuckled. Even at this age, facing death, he was making the same request. Is it still hell? A hotter hell. I have no face to ask, but I still plead. If she doesn't listen until the end, tear apart my betrothal document. To that extent, even more. That's good. Then, as punishment for trying to betray me, you shall suffer that hell once again. No, please, I beg you. Leaving behind the wailing spirit master with a chuckle, the man walked toward the light. Watching the radiant light that began to scatter brilliantly, Xiaogong was overwhelmed with emotion, but in the end, this was all he wanted to say. I want to go too,